Hey, to anyone that is watching with me today, this is the first Google question Q&A session that we're going to be having. And so I am always interested in hearing what business owners have questions about Google and how we can develop the education that will help you understand Google for yourself so that you can start understanding what marketers are saying to you and what you can actually do to make better marketing decisions so that you can grow your business and as well as get the best return on investment as you possibly can. So if anyone does have questions, feel free to drop them into the chat as a comment, whatever platform you're on. And I always encourage you to join me on Patreon, which is where all of my KaeRae education digital resources are available. Some are free, some are cheap. You can join as a Google newbie and get access to all the foundational resources and videos that will help you understand what each of the tools are and how you should use them. And of course, being able to understand the data that comes from it. Google has so many free tools that any business can use. So I want to start talking about a few different tools and answer some of the common questions that I have heard from my customers and different people that I've come in contact over the last 8 years. So a quick recap for who I am, what I do, and who I help is I'm Kelsey Flannery, also known as KaeRae, and I am the owner of KaeRae Marketing and the educator behind KaeRae Education. And so these two businesses are really foundational of being honest and transparent in the digital marketing realm, and that is rare. I used to work in an ad agency and I saw how things were done in the background and how there was too many clients for one person to manage to really put a lot of focus and thought into what the goals are of this specific business and what strategy would best fit reaching those goals around the budget, the website performance, and everything that goes into developing a marketing strategy that works. And so after I left the agency, I started my own business focusing on trying to be as honest and transparent as possible, making sure all my clients know what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how it actually worked out for us, not to try and keep you as a client, but to help you make the best decision for your business. I often think of my client's business as my own business. What would be the advice I want someone to tell me if this was my business? If that means going in a different direction with a different strategy, updating your website, starting to create video content, there's so many different ways that a business can become best friends with Google. And so that's ideally what I try to do with business owners is help them be a partner in translating what the Google world really is and to stop avoiding it and actually dive in and use it to its fullest potential because most of the tools are free. The only thing that actually costs something is doing advertising, such as Google Ads or local services ads. And we'll talk about a couple of those questions around those tools today. And that is actually something that I specialize in. I've been Google Ads certified for 10 years now. I know the ins and outs of using the data to understand what's actually happening, seeing trends to manipulate, getting more leads and quality leads at that. We want to focus on quality over quantity. Just getting a lot of clicks doesn't really mean that we're getting a lot of leads. And so I want to ensure that if there are questions, that I'm answering them as clearly, simply, and directly as possible. Understanding this information isn't a point to making you an expert, but to getting you very familiar with what these terms are, what they mean, and how you can understand this language to make the decisions that are best for your business and your goals. So the first question that I get is, what's the difference between Google Ads and SEO, and which one should I focus on? And the funny thing is, these are the two services I offer, Google Ads and SEO. They are two sides of the same coin. You really want to end up thinking that these strategies might both be a part of your marketing plan. And so what is SEO? This is a huge question. SEO stands for search engine optimization. And this means that you are going to Tell Google what your business is about, what your website is about, how you're trustworthy and have authority in your industry, so that they will show your website to customers that are searching on Google for things that are related to you. Now, you need to know what your keywords are. You need to be able to have enough content on your website for Google to learn about you. And you want to make sure that it is easy to navigate on your website. If people are confused about where to go on your site, that's going to be a big red flag, and they'll leave pretty quick. So what we want to do is make sure that we check all the boxes on Google's checklist for how they like your website to be structured, organized, as well as speed for loading and use on mobile devices, as well as the important content that shows your expertise and knowledge on your website. This is important to build trust with Google and your customers. So obviously there's other goals to getting people to your website to call you, contact you, fill out a form, book an appointment, whatever it might be. So obviously we're going to be at the very beginning of getting ranked and making sure that you keep this SEO strategy top of mind and consistent, making sure that you're constantly looking at your website and making updates if necessary. The best way to have an ongoing SEO strategy is to write blogs. And if you're not a writer, you may be turning to AI. That's fine, but you want to be sure that you're still bringing your customized knowledge and experience of how long you've been in business, how long you've been doing this type of task or problem solving or solution, and making sure that you're sharing that information in your blogs as authentically and transparently as possible will build the trust. Now, if you're not a writer, you can hire a writer or use AI, but that is always a caution. Making sure that you're going through what AI produces and still being heavily involved in making sure it sounds like your brand voice is very important. Now, what is Google Ads? Now, I mentioned that I'm Google Ads certified. What you need to do is pay per click. These ads do show up above anything else on the page, so that is a benefit that you're showing up immediately as soon as you're willing to pay. Set up your ads, your keywords, and link them to your website. You want to make sure you have a budget of at least $10 a day before you get started. This is going to be the best way for you to start showing for specific keywords that may take longer for an SEO strategy to start kicking in. So Google Ads is going to cost you, but it's also much quicker than SEO, which is all about effort, making sure that you optimize your website. And this is going to be a longer strategy. It may take you 3 to 6 months. And if you are consistent, once you hit a year, you will start seeing consistent, high quality, always converting users to your website. So there is a difference in those two strategies, but using the combination of both of them could be the secret sauce for your business. Making sure you're cutting to the top of the page right away with Google Ads, but continuing to focus on your SEO strategy in the background. The next question I get a lot is, why is my Google business profile not showing up sometimes and then other times in other places? What is going on? Now, this is a huge listing or profile for any business. If you haven't set up a Google business profile, you need to stop this video and go do that immediately. I have an entire Google business workshop that will walk you through everything. So what I want to share with you about Google Business is there are a few steps in order to be found. One, you need to create it, you need to verify it, and then you need to optimize it. Now, creating it is simple, adding in all the information about your business, and then the next step of verification is to prove that you are in association with that business. With doing that, you need to make sure that you can accept a phone call to the number that you're adding to the listing, or you need to be able to accept mail at the physical address of that listing. And most commonly, you need to be able to provide a business video, which means you need to show the interior, exterior of the location, as well as any vehicles, tools, equipment, even locked areas of your business to prove without a doubt that you are in association with this business. Google makes you jump through these hoops because they want to make sure that the business information is 100% accurate. That is Google's overall goal, is to make sure that the information they show in their search results is true and accurate. So once you have added all the business information you can and verified that you are a part of the business, you're going to move on to the optimization stage. And this is going to be, again, consistent. You want to upload photos to your listing showing the behind the scenes, happy customers, your office, your products, your services, whatever you have going on. And then you want to create a post. You can do this on a regular basis, promoting what you have going on, different services. You also want to be able to add photos to those posts to get the attention. Next, you want to start gathering reviews, asking any happy customers if they could go to Google and write a simple review for you. Once you have started building this list, you're going to start building credibility with Google that you are indeed in business and have a good reputation with your customers. Going through all of these steps on a regular basis, meaning at least monthly, if not every other week, would be great. You want to be able to show Google that you are serious about being available to the users that are searching for your services. So a couple of different ways why you might not be seeing your listing is, one, you haven't gone through the steps of creating or verifying. If your business has been created by Google, they may have created a listing for you, but you can't change anything or add to it until you've gone through the verification step. Now, the other ways that you might not be seeing is that your business isn't associated with the keyword that you're searching. So if your category or services or products or in your description doesn't list that keyword, then that's why you're not showing up. Next is, you may not be close enough to be seeing this result high enough in the search results based on your geographic location. The Google Business or Google Maps area, those are based on the user's location to the actual physical location. So the closer you are to the location on your listing, that's going to be how you can show up higher. And again, it comes into how optimized your listing is, how active you are, and the number of reviews and star rating you have. So the different algorithm that's used to rank these listings is going to be based on how close you are. So know that that may be skewing your result. The last thing is, I recommend using incognito mode to check out where your listing is showing up. Incognito mode, that means that they are not tracking where you are, what you've done on this browser beforehand, and any past behaviors they've learned about you from your internet searching. So this is a fresh way to see what might be your current ranking for Google Business. Try out these different things, and of course, join me for my Google Business workshop if you're interested in learning out how to create, verify, and optimize this listing. The next question is it worth going through the screening process and paying for local services ads or Google guaranteed? Now, if you fall within an industry that is approved to use these basically home service ads, the answer is yes. I definitely recommend any business that is in an industry that's approved to sign up and consider using this type of ad. Now, the reason that you need to go through a screening process is that Google is guaranteeing that you are a credible business. And so there are going to be a lot of hoops that you need to jump through in order to get approved to start showing these ads. So let me tell you about the placement and the requirements for these types of ads. First, these ads show above everything else. Google Ads, the map pack where your Google Business listing is, or the organic. So these are at the very top, just under the search bar. Ideal placement and real estate for any business that's looking to get calls. The next thing is these ads only show your phone number to call you or send you a message. That's it. So you know if someone's clicking on this ad, you're actually generating a lead. So we're not waiting for them to go to your website, get lost, possibly contact you, or get distracted and move on to something else. They are calling you right from the ad. So this really does cut down the time that your customer needs to spend looking for a way to contact you. Next, your reviews and star rating are huge. You need to have a goal of at least 50 to 100. Depending on your industry, you need to see what your competitors have and try and get that amount. Really comes down to ranking priority, comes to the number of reviews that you have and the star rating compared to other listings. So these really are ideal types of ads and could do a lot for your business. But the screening process really does have quite a bit of hoops that you should jump through to prove your loyalty to Google. So the first thing is you will need to have a background check. The next thing is a background check for each of your employees that are customer facing. So if you have a landscape business and you have people that are going to someone's house, they will need to go through the background process. So there is no cost to you for these background checks, but you will need to add the owner email as well as any employees that will have interactions face-to-face with customers, their email address to complete the process on their own. They will need to include personal IDs where they will take a photo and upload it to the secure system, as well as any documentation that the business may need to provide as what the address is matching the listing, and again, verify that this business is in existence. So all of this will take about 2 to 3 weeks to get approved and optimize your listing. Different ways you can optimize this listing is focus on your reviews. Try and ask every customer that you have to go to Google and write a review. You can certainly use a QR code to put on a business card to leave behind after the project is done. And you want to upload photos. Photos is a great way to engage and build trust with your audience in very subtle ways by showing that you are real people and that you are trustworthy at what you're doing, especially if you have a before and after shot. These are great ways to sell someone on clicking on your ad and calling you. So once you've gone through the approval, certification, and background check, you will need to have a limited, you will need to have a general liability insurance waiver that you are going to upload every year for your business, as well as any licenses for your business to upload to the profile. Once you've had all of this done, you will be able to move on to activating your ads. Now, the great thing about these ads is there's not really a lot of management or maintenance that needs to happen. You can continue to optimize your Google business listing because that is what is synced with this ad, but you still want to continue to check in on this account. You will be able to listen to all of the recordings for these different ads, for each of these different leads that come in through these ads. So there's a lot of potential for you to see what is consistently working and what are some questions that you may have heard a lot from your customers so that you can create content around those questions. So again, if you're in any of the industries that are allowed with local services ads or Google guaranteed, you should 100% check into using it for your business. You can certainly go to my website and see all of the listing. You can see all of the industries that are approved for local services ads at KaeRaeMarketing.com/local-services-ads. And finally, I want to talk about how much should you spend on Google Ads? And this is a question for any different business that is thinking about using Google Ads or has already been using it. So if you're considering it, it will give you clarity on how much you should budget for this type of advertising, as well as how to calculate back your return on investment. And anyone that's already doing this, if you're looking for a Google audit, trying to figure out what is working, what is not, if you're in the dark on what this data means, even if you're having it managed by an agency, I'm happy to do a Google audit to tell you just transparently and directly what's going on and if it's working and what I think you should do about it. So how much should you spend on Google Ads? So I often think that people have this skewed in their mind of, oh, I can spend $100 and I can get a couple of leads, and then I'll turn it off because I've reached, the little bit of growth that I was looking for. Yes, you can turn Google Ads on and off, which is a great luxury of being able to adapt your business to it. However, you do want to give a time of at least 14 days when you activate your ads for the system to relearn your information. So reintroduce your business ads and keywords to the algorithm to show in Google Ads. So there is some way of, if you are going to turn it on, at least do a month or more, because the 2-week time period of it learning, and then the next 2 weeks can adjust and start possibly getting your results. Now, you are going to want to be very specific in Google Ads so that you don't waste your money, that you're targeting specific keywords that your audience definitely searches. If it's a keyword about what you're offering, a problem that they're experiencing, or even a question that may lead to your solution being an option. And once you know specific keywords, speak to those customers in your ads and send them to specific pages on your website so that they're not looking around. So with doing all of this, you're going to allow more quality clicks to your website that stay longer and more likely convert into a lead by form or call or purchase, whatever it might be. And once you are very specific, you'll be able to see and refine to what is working and what is converting and what is not, and start weaning away the things that are not, so that your budget has more to not waste on keywords that really weren't getting you anything, but on the keywords that are. And so I highly suggest, as I said, is a minimum budget of at least $10 a day is about $300 per month. And so what could you get as a return if you got just one lead in this month? Would it be more than $300? And if the value of your customer is, consider the lifetime of that customer. If you have a lot of people stay with you for years, the lifetime value of that customer is definitely going to be greater than the $300 you spent. But trying to understand what is the value and cost that you benefit once you get a customer, and then of course keeping them. And once you start generating a funnel that is calculable, you'll be able to see what is the conversion rate of each of these steps and how many people do I need to get into these phases of the funnel to then get to my goal. And of course, with Google Ads, you will want to give it at least 3 months to see if there's different things that you can change, services you focus on, whatever you're profiting most. Maybe some low-hanging keywords that could be misspellings, could be specific questions that people are asking that always turn into customers. So being specific in your targeting will then allow your budget to do more with less. But the minimum, very minimum, is $10 a day. And that, again, can only be for industries that are not that competitive. So if we're going to break this down Barney style, you'll see that a $10 a day budget, once you have gotten $10 spent, then your ads will no longer show. So if you have an average cost per click of $2, that means you can get 5 clicks and then your ads are no longer shown. So are those 5 clicks enough for you to reach your goals? Because if your ads are starting at 9 o'clock and then they're done by noon, anyone from noon to the end of the day may not see your business. Did you get enough value from those first 5 clicks? So that's where you want to make sure that you know your industry competitive average cost per click, so that you don't think that $10 a day is enough when, what if the average cost per click for your industry is $5 a day? That means you can only have 2 clicks per day. So really make sure that you're budgeting that is accurate. If you're ever interested in getting a Google Ads keyword estimate, average cost per click for your industry, send me 5 different keywords that you want to rank for. I'll respond with what the competition is, how many average searches are actually happening for those keywords, and how much it would cost per click if you started doing Google Ads. So this is definitely something that you don't want to just jump into and start doing Google Ads without some awareness of what you're looking for at the end of this campaign. Being able to work back, how much will you make from a lead to how much are you willing to spend for a lead is very important. And it's always part of my conversations with my clients when we start setting expectations and goals in the beginning of our time together. So making sure that you're going to be realistic with your own goals so that you can set a budget that will help you actually get there. So thank you so much for being with me today. These are all the very common questions that I get. If you have questions, feel free to go to my website, 𝐃�RaeEducation.com, and you'll be able to see that there is a button in the menu, Ask a Question. Go ahead and submit the question, and I will create a video for you to answer it and hopefully give you more clarity on how to use Google for your business and get some success from getting ranked at #1 or using Google Ads or even just understanding what your keywords are for your SEO strategy.